here at the Barracks love our recent trend of publishing articles straight to twitterx.com. Elon Musk is rewarding long form content, so we thought, why send you to some other website when we can post straight to X? For those of you who haven't been following the story, Russell Brand, prominent YouTube commentator and former Hollywood actor, someone who has since cleaned up his drug abuse and gotten clean, gotten his life together, and started a very popular anti-establishment podcast, a series of them, has recently had decades-old allegations of sexual misconduct come out against him. Let me pull myself up here for the summary. The allegations have not come from a court hearing, have not come from a police report, have not come from any of the means of like traditionally condemning someone for a crime. They have been a series of coordinated media pushes with these inflated headlines accusing Russell Brand of the R word. I don't know what YouTube is going to take us down for, of the hard R. They're using the hard R in the legacy media. And all of these like top newspapers, magazines, we have a clip pulled up, we have a tweet pulled up from Max Blumenthal just showing videos that he did with Russell Brand just days before this demonetization on his platform following these media allegations. But Russell Brand just days before, one of his last videos before getting demonetized was a stream with Max Blumenthal talking about 9/11 and the counter narratives that all of us are aware of that like are the true narratives behind 9/11 and how important it is to question government narratives. And is he like this revolutionary figure? Is he, this leading voice of Marxism, Leninism? No, we're not saying that. But we are saying that he, like, for someone who has nearly 7 million followers on YouTube, he is a staunch critic of some of the top devastating events of our time, be they plague, we know the one, or be they the Ukraine war, or as in the case with the Max Blumenthal video at 9/11, be like having it be revealed that our suspicions were confirmed. He pushed like all those buttons while maintaining such a large audience. So just to pull the tweet back up here, I'll let Milkman talk about it because it's his article. This is part of the long-running Me Too psyop of burying people beneath this knee-jerk instinct to believe all women. Believe all women, by the way, is a CIA slogan. So
yeah, we believe no women at the Barracks, just so you know. What up, Screws and a Bell? How you doing?
Yeah, so you wanna give a breakdown of the deeper history of the Me Too movement and Weinstein's. We'll get into Black Cube. I know you want to get into Black Cube.
Oh, I want to get into Black Cube. Yeah. So the thrust of the article is not climate change. So I guess that was my first mistake. But the thrust of the article is that Me Too was never what it was presented as. And it was actually pretty much a cover-up from the beginning. Because Harvey Weinstein's, like, the fact that he raped all the actresses, or R-worded all the actresses that he hired, that was like, everyone knew that in Hollywood. That was no secret. But this one actress, Rose McGowan, who grew up in a cult, which I think informed her view about this stuff, because she escaped from a cult before she got to Hollywood, had been trying to get traction on these allegations against him for 3 years, which that's the framing, right? That she like was accusing him of rape, but that's not really what she was talking about. She was really just talking about like Hollywood and the entire structure of how they have all these like sex rings and all kinds of crazy shit. And she was going on mainstream media and talking about this shit. And that's right when Me Too popped off. And it became, instead of like, oh, let's not talk about like the pedo rings and like the sex trafficking, it's actually just about like when your boss called you sugar tits and made you uncomfortable, right? That's what it's really about. And suddenly everyone starts posting with this hashtag like their own stories. Louis C.K. gets canceled for some dumb bullshit. Like, let's be honest, if you were a fan of Louis C.K. and you were surprised that he was like a degenerate, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, Aziz Ansari gets canceled, which was the most ridiculous one, which I mentioned in the article. And it just spreads way out from where it started, which was like Epstein style sex trafficking, pedophile rings, like really fucked up shit. And so the whole point of Me Too was to conflate the accusations Rose McGowan was making, and I'm sure she wasn't the only one, but she was sort of the face of it at the beginning, with just like, oh, it's like a universal experience. It's something all women experience. Me Too, hashtag Me Too. Like, no, not you two. Not you two. You have never been sacrificed at a satanic ritual. Not you two. But anyway, meanwhile, while like Oprah Winfrey, who was a longtime associate of Weinstein's, is doing her fucking Time's Up bullshit, McGowan has these black cube Israeli ex-Mossad guys chasing after her, spying through her windows, following around town and shit. And she eventually just gets excommunicated. Like, first she went over to like the Republicans and she was talking like Republican campaigns for a bit, and then eventually she just got dropped entirely. And then not only did they sort of use the media to cover up what Me Too was originally about, or what the allegations originally were, it then transformed into like a political weapon for the Democratic Party. And they've used it a lot. It's like their go-to, it's like their old reliable at this point. You've got some guy causing trouble, dig into the past, find any kind of weird sex stuff, overblow it, or manufacture it if you can't find anything. And
specifically, the most high profile political targeting in the by the United States government against like political opponents were of this category, specifically against Trump and against Julian Assange.
Yes, Julian Assange. That's a great example. Julian Assange, that got like completely blown out of proportion. He like didn't use a condom, which, I mean, come on. And then the woman even like recanted it and said she didn't want him to go to jail, but it was too late. And then Trump has that woman who like says rape is sexy to Anderson Cooper. First, like, okay, but also there's a ridiculous one that people don't know about, which I wanted to talk about, which was in Massachusetts a couple of years ago for the Senate race. Alex Morse was running against Richard Neal, who's like a total swamp monster. He's been one of the most integral figures in blocking Medicare for all. He's on like some health committee. And Alex Morse was running against him pretty much on a platform of Medicare for all. He was the mayor of Holyoke. And while he was running, these Me Too allegations came forward that he was like inappropriate to subordinates or something, because, well, it turned out the Intercept reported that they got leaked these texts that showed the DNC actually coordinating with college students in the College Democrats at UMass. And they were like telling them what to say, telling them how to plant the story, coaching them on how to talk to the media. And it was just like 100% manufactured. And if you think that's the only time they've done it, I mean, I have a bridge to sell you. It's not the only time they've done it. It's the only time they've gotten caught that I know of. But you can look up this article on The Intercept if you want. It's a really egregious example where the DNC was just explicitly manufacturing a Me Too allegation out of nothing to try and destroy an incumbent on one of their boys, on one of their swamp monsters. This is what it is. And then the other side of that coin, which I don't think we're going to get into today, but I want to mention, is that now that people are like acclimatized to these bogus bullshit allegations, when there's like someone like Kevin Spacey gets acquitted, people immediately assume like, oh, it must have been more bogus allegations. No, Kevin Spacey was not bogus allegations. He's a lizard person. And I mean, that was the whole point from the beginning, is it's conflating the absolute depravity of our ruling class and like the pedo elite with just like average. I mean, I don't want to minimize it because I know it's not fun to like be sexually harassed, but it's not on the same level as what the elites are doing on Epstein Island. I'm sorry, it's not. And that conflation is the whole point, because it's just this is what they love to do whenever they're cornered, is they just redirect to the masses. Like, actually, it's your fault because you've sinned. Your men are being inappropriate with women or not getting proper consent or whatever. And then now we're all arguing about that, and it's become like a battle of the sexist thing, and we've totally forgotten about this whole pedo elite shit, which of course was the whole point in the first place. So this is the thrust of the article, but I guess I didn't talk about climate change enough.
The tweet has gotten a little bit of traction, even as we're streaming here. It's before we started, it was just below 2,000 impressions. It's now at 2,100. When you get a chance, go make sure to like the tweet if you haven't already, and make sure to like this stream, share it. We got 5 people in the chat right now. We based on this wrecker nonsense going on in the background, and these background glowy accusations, and trying to recruit legal firms to knock down your opponents by like accusing them of political. The Barracks has now been affected by this wrecker garbage. Stand with brand. Hashtag stand with brand.
Absolutely.
The Barracks stands with brand because the Barracks has been affected by the cascading effect of this attack against anti-establishment voices. We stand with brand because we are Russell Brand. Russell Brand is us. And I don't just mean that in a cutesy way, and I don't just mean that in a metaphorical way. Literally, like, I am with strong confidence certain that the people who are accusing Russell Brand, the people who are accusing people like Jackson Hinkle, the people who are accusing all of these anti-establishment voices are the same ones who are attacking me and my family with those very same accusations. We're not going to take this lying down. We stand with Brand. I like that, Pittsburgh, dude.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
That's good. Well, yeah, because I mean, it's obviously it's not. I actually like this post from Finn. He says, I can think of like a dozen NFL players with allegations, but they don't oppose Western hegemony, so no one cares. Accusations are purely political. Exactly. Like, they could probably do this to anyone. I mean, especially with the shit they manufactured against Alex Morris, which was based on nothing. Like, he was literally just flirting on dating apps, and they were like, oh, it was a power imbalance. Like, they can get anyone. It's not. So I haven't even looked at the allegations because it's not my business. Like, it's kind of perverse and disgusting. If he committed crimes, take him to fucking court. Okay. We don't do trial by media in this country. We do innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not even going to look at the allegations. If he's on trial, I'll look at them, but he's not. Okay. This is all just rumors and gossip and media hype. And I don't give a shit about it. Okay. If he's guilty, take him to court. I don't care what he did 10 years ago. It's so fucking obvious that this is a political hit. And it's because he's going on Bill Maher at the height of COVID and talking about, I mean, shit, I think shit we can't even say on YouTube, but I think you know what I'm talking about how safe and effective everything is.
About how good and awesome the whole affair was. It went off without a hitch.
He's got so many viewers because he was a Hollywood celebrity, and he's breaking with the mainstream narrative on Ukraine. He's breaking with the mainstream narrative on COVID. He's talking about the restrictions on free speech and the surveillance state and the police state. And there are people who don't like that, and they don't want someone with so much clout spreading these ideas. That's what this is about. I mean, it's so obvious. It happens over and over again. And then meanwhile, people like Kevin Spacey get acquitted. Harvey Weinstein never, I mean, he's canceled, quote unquote, but he's not. He never got in trouble. He just got, people said mean things about him in the media, I guess. Oh, Lord. Meanwhile, Russell Brand immediately gets demonetized, a deplatformed from YouTube. And I mean, that's clearly the point. Like, how does that even logically follow? Like, how does
they tried doing this? I just remembered. We made a whole list of people who they tried doing this to. They tried doing this with Tucker. You remember that? All of the like they
I don't remember that actually.
Because it was such a desperate attempt to get him with this. They had leaked footage of inside the Fox News room where he said something about like this woman wearing makeup or something.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Right after he got fired. You rember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was that memory hole, didn't it? But they tried. They tried.
Yeah, but I bet you could find a lib in this country who, when they hear Tucker Carlson, they'll be like, oh, he's like a sex pervert. He's like a sex pest. That's the thing, too. It's not like the thing about Me Too is it's not just about like the deplatforming, demonetization. It's like it's like a millstone that hangs around your neck for the rest of your career. Like Louis C.K. will never escape the cancellation. People are always going to associate him with masturbating in front of women or whatever he did, which I don't want to be mean, but
So in short,
I agree with what Chappelle said about that.
Right. And it's not that we here at the Barracks, when we say we don't believe any women, it's not
no women.
It's not that we believe no women. It's that it's a very good practice to assume that all women are the police.
All women are feds. I've been saying this.
All women are the police. That's just, take it from the OG who got a mugshot taken because he got too friendly with the prostitute. You can't, like, I know you want it. Was it worth it? Was it worth it, my man, for the nut?
Mm-hmm.
Never worth it. Not
That's
worth
facts.
it. It's never worth it.
You should be celibate until the revolution.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way. We won't get it perfect, but we must try.
Redirect that sexual energy into political organizing, but not in certain ways. You got to sublate it.
But this cascading effect has affected the Barracks. Our Discord chat has been destroyed. It has been nuked against our wishes, against our prior knowledge. We woke up this morning to the Discord chat being nuked. So we take, and good riddance. Discord is an app for federal agents and perverts. It is cursed. Good riddance. Make sure to join our Telegram channel. Telegram is far and away such a better service than Discord. Discord, the reason we didn't want to declare war, we're like declaring war and drawing a whole bunch of lines in the sand today. The reason we had said earlier that we will not do this is because we knew that we were surrounded by freaks, autists, and perverts. But now that this Discord chat has been turned into nuclear dust, no such limitations exist for us. We are going full forward into war with the wreckers, the ankle biters, and the spies.
Wait, I want to respond to Ellen real quick, who says, I believe Tara Reid. I do too, but it's not just because she made the accusation. It's because there's all this footage of Joe Biden like sniffing little girls' hair and stuff. And like his daughter says that they took showers together when they were 14. So like it tracks. And also it's all about the context. Biden is the Democrat, Weekend at Bernie's nominee for president. They obviously don't want anything bad to be said about him. Whereas Russell Brand is saying things that are inconvenient for the establishment. And that's the kind of person that something might be manufactured against, So like, I mean, I lay it out in the article too, because like, it's the conflation in the one direction where people think, oh, Aziz Ansari is getting Me Too'd, so he must be like Harvey Weinstein. And it's the conflation in the other direction where people say, oh, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, Joe Biden, they're getting Me Too'd, so it must be just like Aziz Ansari and be some bullshit. And that's, like I say, that's the whole point of Me Too. And you can't conflate the two because some of these people are demons and some of these people just have no riz. Like it's not the same thing. But what I don't really mean believe no women. I just mean like the knee-jerk reaction of like someone made a Me Too allegation, so it must be true. That's a fucking psyop, okay? Whenever you have something that you can't question, ghouls are going to come in and use that to their advantage because you can't question it. So, easy game. I can't use that example. But it's what you can't criticize rules over you, right? The things that you're not allowed to talk about are the most important things to talk about. So, I believe in innocent until proven guilty. I think Joe Biden's probably guilty. Even if he's not guilty of that, he's guilty of a shitload of other stuff. And he might even be dead at this point and be a man in a mask. Like he's not really in charge of the country, but we have courts in this country. All right. We have a whole justice system, and there's a reason the justice system is not run by the media. Okay. Because the media is easy to manipulate. It's easy to buy and sell. It's easy to trick people into thinking what you want with the media. And the fact that he had a 24-hour media trial, and then his sentence is demonetization and deplatforming. That's not the principles that this country was built on. We don't do trial by media. We do trial by a jury of your peers. That's how it's supposed to work. Well, he didn't get that, and they just found him guilty. So, And then meanwhile, someone like Harvey Weinstein never shows up in a courtroom at all. it's just completely perverse, a complete perversion of justice. And we need to split Me Too. We need to have Me Too and then like you over there. Like Me Too, I'm like a normal guy, and then you over there are sacrificing babies to Moloch. That's what we need to have.
And also, like, yeah, I'm not, yeah, and just drawing lines in the sand here. I will explicitly say, like, yeah, I also believe Tara Reid, and I don't care. I don't. Some intern at, like, who's going to Washington, like, and all these Hollywood people too, who's like, someone. Oh, it's like, if it's happening in a CVS, if it's happening, at a Burlington coat factory, where you have some reason where you're just like in some small town, and that happens to you, yeah, I'm going to care about that, because that's happening to millions of poor people all across this country, across the world. But if you're in Washington and this happens to you, you are just in this machinery that's causing these pedophile rings, that is aiding sex trafficking at the border, at the U.S.-Mexico border. And you are abiding by this stuff, if not actively making it worse. So I don't care. I don't. I believe it happened. I just don't care. So cry about it, make some post about how we're propping up the patriarchy. Yes, we are. The patriarchy would not allow these perverse Ukrainian gay orgies happening in the woods to like steal children's organs in Ukraine, being like the number one export in Ukraine right now. Same thing with all the sex trafficking coming out of Ukraine and at the U.S.-Mexico border.
That is a good point. It's kind of like I walked into the belly of the beast and it started digesting me. Like, yeah, no shit. Anyway,
or the woman who came out against Brett Kavanaugh. I believe that happened. I just don't care.
I mean, these people do a lot worse shit. Like, all right. So we could move on to Fox Green now, or is he gonna show up?
I don't think he's gonna show up. We'll give him some time. He needs to warm up to the idea. He needs to work up the courage to debate the milkman.
I mean, I'll give him time. I'm coming for him one way or another, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the first shots will be fired one way or another. So
he fired the first shots. I know, but we'll save it. We'll give him a chance to come in and defend himself. Do you want to skip to the next segment first?
Yeah. So just to go more in depth about the consequences of the real consequences of this, specifically with Russell Brand. Max Blumenthal had a tweet about it, which I think, I think these are the consequences that like have actual, because is the government going to come down and like molest all 300 American citizens in their homes? No, that's just, maybe they will. I hope they don't, but probably they won't. But what they will do is sanction everyday people, silence them in a way that they're doing with Russell Brand. Max Blumenthal had this tweet about the video he did with Mr. Brand on the 9/11 stream they did a few days before he got shut down. Max Blumenthal says, I joined Russell Brand on 9/11 to discuss the financial censorship of anti-establishment voices by Silicon Valley social media and crowdfunding companies. Very appropriate. Very appropriate, because at that point, Max Blumenthal also had his second or third GoFundMe taken down by Silicon Valley and social media companies. It says, this was one of Brand's last shows before YouTube demonetized his channel following the tabloid publication of sexual abuse allegations. YouTube has justified its move on the basis of its vague creator responsibility policy, which forbids real-world harm to YouTube users, employees, or ecosystem. The Google-owned company's move will inevitably harden the perception that Brand is the target of a coordinated hit and should raise questions about the influence of state actors on the company's decision. YouTube threatened the Grey Zone with a strike following our live stream about British journalist Paul Mason's collaboration with the UK security state. The stream was permanently deleted. As Jonathan K. Cook has pointed out, Brand's antics were no secret in Hollywood, but only became an issue after he rehabilitated himself and emerged as one of the world's most prolific critics of corporate media. As unsettling as some of the allegations against Brand might seem, he has not yet been convicted of anything in a court. He has denied the charges and has not clearly violated YouTube's terms of service through any of his online content. But a jury of faceless corporate functionaries has nonetheless found him guilty in the privatized, politically co-opted space that serves as our digital commons and punished him with financial sanctions. This is showing that even after the Twitter files, where it was revealed just how infiltrated Twitter was by literal FBI agents, just how this is still the status quo across all social media platforms. And this is the means by which, and increasingly, people are finding out just how necessary it is to be on these social media platforms to get access to alternative streams of information that aren't just CNN spouting, warmongering at you all the time. So to be sanctioned on these platforms, to be taken off these platforms, or if if you make a living off of these platforms, these targets against you, based on just accusations that have no basis, in legal fact or any material evidence, that has real consequences for a lot of people. And it's not just on Twitter, it's everywhere. This is the means by which they get you. And it's happened to me. This is the real Me Too. This is the real Me Too.
True.
This is the real Me Too. My damn house got swatted.
Me too.
My damn house got swatted over shit like this. People die because of this. That's the real Me Too. Fuck Tara Reid.
Well, it's not Me Too. That's why I'm anonymous.
So
yeah, it's true. I mean, at what point, what's the real threat here? That they can just take anyone out without a trial?
Donald Trump was Me Too'd.
Yeah, that's good actually. That's the real Me Too.
Mm-hmm.